We started on the 10th of February, 7 months ago. Now just 2 teams and 1 game remain. It's time to make history, and it's at the Theatre of Dreams.
Moments. They can pass you by in a second. If you can grasp hold of one, it can last forever. But greatness doesn't just arrive in a moment. Inch by inch, game by game. It takes a special kind of will to seek out greatness, and an even rarer skill to seize that moment. This city knows all about greatness. This theatre has seen it all. It's where the world comes to watch. Poetry. Brutality. Beauty. Humility.
Thank you for everything you've done in the game. We really appreciate you, mate.
Heroes walk in, legends walk out. A quarter of a century of unforgettable moments.
Robinson, what a try!
Names etched in history.
Venison came hurtling in.
But history doesn't write itself. 4 years of unfaltering effort gives the Saints this opportunity. One last trophy before the wolf leaves the pack. One more for a club that can set itself apart. 4 in a row. Unprecedented. Greatness doesn't walk a defined path. The Rhinos have taken their own road this year. Rowan's revolution has left Leeds in a familiar position. Winning it from 5th. They said it before, it couldn't be done. Go get it, boys. The Betfred Super League Grand Final. Bring it on.
Bring it on. It's live on Sky tomorrow night from Old Trafford. St Helens have won the trophy on 8 occasions. Leeds have won it on 8 occasions as well. And St Helens are going 4 in a row. No team has ever done that before. Paul Sculthorpe won it with St Helens on 4 occasions. And Adrian Morley has won the grand final and the grand final in Australia as well. And congratulations, you've just been inducted into the Hall of Fame. Well done, mate.
Thank you very much, Matt. Yeah, it's a massive honour. It's still sinking in, if I'm being honest. And to be recognised by the sport with, that's the biggest accolade you can be given. And I'm over the moon. There's a dinner next month in Wigan, and I can't wait. It's very humbling.
Congratulations. You played in the first ever grand final. 4 Leeds, Wigan won. There was about 43,000 at Old Trafford. I went that night as well. And a lot of us weren't sure, were we, this first step of a grand final Super League at Old Trafford.
No, you're right.
But we're about to go into the 25th.
Yeah, well, it goes to show it's been a success. I mean, in Australia, they have the grand final system every year. In England, it was first past the post. If you finish top of the league, you're deemed champions. However, this new playoff system come into place, and you're right, no one knew what it was like. I'd say there was only 43,000, but it was still a fantastic atmosphere at the grand final. Year on year, the crowds went up, the interest went up, and it's the highest game in the rugby league calendar, which it's took on a world of its own. And 25 years later, here we are. Leeds are in the grand final again against their old enemies, the Saints. I don't think Saints have ever beat Leeds in a grand final, have they, Mark? No one. It's always been one
before.
Yeah, but it's always been the other way. But I'm sure they'd be looking to flip that round tomorrow evening. But I can't wait.
Well, I think you've probably worked it out. Mozzie's representing Leeds tonight, and obviously Scully is representing the Saints. And look, there's so many subplots, Scully. Both teams have won it on 8 occasions. Now, no team has won 4 on a bounce. Leeds nearly did it. And those 3 of those wins were against St Helens as well.
Yeah, they were. There's great history, isn't there, between the 2 clubs. They are two giants of the Betfred Super League, and as you said, both won it on numerous occasions. They know how to handle the big stage, and I think tomorrow is going to be a cracker because both teams have been through quite inconsistent, probably months in over the last couple of months. I know Leeds obviously throughout the year, and I mean to come from 11th and now being a Super League Grand Final is an unbelievable turnaround. We know what Saints are about. They've proved it the last 3 years, and then obviously took the league leaders, but Leeds to do what they've done, and And literally every week in the last 2-3 weeks has been a bonus, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, where's the pressure?
Well, minutes from going out and not even getting in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I commentated for Sky on that game against Castleford.
I mean, that first half was awful, wasn't it?
Castleford should have won that game all day. But Leeds found a way, and that's what big teams do, they find a way. And now it's all about 80 minutes. You know, the whole prize, the whole year is on the line for 80 minutes.
I was talking to your old boss today, Gary Hetherington, and he was saying that people keep saying, as Scully's mentioned, oh, we've won it from 5th. And he said, we've never won it from 11th before.
No, that's right, that's right. Well, it's, you know, Leeds, they're tried and tested, and no matter where they finish, they always give themselves a chance in the playoffs. Nearly went out, as you say, but they're there, and to be 80 minutes away, you know, regardless of the result tomorrow, they've done fantastically well to make it to the grand final. So
it's like a bonus, isn't it, for Leeds?
It
Last Friday at Wigan felt like a bonus.
Yeah, you know, you could see there were, you know, everything was on the line, and you know, the worthy winners last Friday against Wigan, and it's a fairy tale story at the moment, and you know, they just got to get the victory tomorrow.
I think what we've got to look at there as well is Leeds should never ever been in 11th place with the playing rota that they've got. So it's no surprise that they are where they are for tomorrow, you know. But it was a surprise back then; they just couldn't put it together.
Incredible stuff. Second bottom in April. Now they're in the grand final. Won it twice before from 5th as well. Right, St Helens are your favourites. St Helens are 2s on. Leeds are 21-10, which is just over 2-1. The tie, 18-1. Oof, what a game that would be, wouldn't it? If we got golden point as well. The handicap is around at the 6 mark as well. Have we got it right? Saints, Favs?
I think so. I mean, obviously, you know, people ask you who's going to win and what do you say. I think it's going to be close. I've gone Saints by 6, so I think I might have a little punt. Am I allowed to bet on the handicap draw?
Well, you are retired, so yes, you can. But if you're having a bet, please gamble responsibly. It's going to be a cracking game. We're going to talk in detail about the game. We're going to hear from both camps as well. But let's start with the St Helens camp. Christian Wolff came here in 2020. He's won the grand final twice. He's won the Challenge Cup as well. And we know this is his final game as St Helens coach. And I caught up with him at Old Trafford yesterday. Christian, how are you feeling?
Yeah, look, excited. It's great when you get to come here for a day like today. It starts to make it a little bit real and start to get a little bit more excited. And you walk into Old Trafford and it's a big stadium that you relate to big games. So adds to the excitement a little bit more.
How do you think you'll be feeling about 5 to 6 on Saturday night when you walk out?
A little bit excited, a little bit nervous. There'll be a lot of emotions sort of running through myself, and obviously even more running through the players. And that's what we love. It's the games that we want to be involved in. It's the occasions that you want to be involved in, and those feelings of excitement and nervousness, they're all part of it.
Have you thought about it being your last game?
No, not really, to be honest. It's been a whirlwind season, as they all are. You sort of you get off one game, you're figuring out what the damage is, you're doing the reviews, and you're rolling into the next game. So you don't get too much time to sit back and reminisce. And the last couple of weeks have been like that as well. We go into a semi-final. We come out of that, we're getting ready for a grand final. We've had the judiciary stuff going on in the background, so it's been a busy week, and I'm just excited about the occasion. And at some stage, I'll get the chance to sit back and reminisce, but the time's not yet.
Have you taken in it? You're on the verge of history. If you do win 4 and a bounce at St Helens?
Yeah, that's certainly not lost on us. We get reminded a lot for one, and we're all very aware of what this group of men have achieved, and how successful and how hard they've worked over the last couple of years to give themselves this opportunity. So that doesn't get lost on us, and we don't forget about that in a hurry. At the same time, it's not something that we talk about all the time. We're quite comfortable with it. We know it's there. We've also got to focus on the hard work ahead of us and a tough task ahead of us as well.
You came here in 2020, obviously very difficult times with COVID. Has the job lived up to expectations?
Yeah, it has. It's been everything I expected and everything I wanted, and all that kind of thing. And you always come in with a little bit of unknown, as much homework and everything that we like to do, and as much as we think we know about a group of players or a group of staff or a club or a competition for that matter. And As I said before I came, I'd done a lot of homework and I watched a number of games, and I had a relatively good idea. But you get here and it's a bit different. You've got to find your way, and you've got to find your way with the group, with the club, through the competition. And as I said, it's been everything that I expected, and I've loved every minute of it. And I've really enjoyed my time here. And as I said, I've loved every minute about being a Saints coach, about working with this group of men, and being part of Super League.
Loved every minute of it. Right, let's just get something out of the way, Scully. Twitter went into meltdown on Wednesday night when Morgan Knowles, his appeal was successful. He's been busy this week, same with the judiciary stuff. Look, whatever you think about it, you want to see the best players in the final.
Of course you do. Morgan Knowles is one of the best players in the competition. As a sport, we want to see him out there on the big stage. The judiciary is there for a reason. If you've got an opportunity to appeal to get one of your best players, on the field for the biggest game of the year, you're going to do that.
And Ron Smith in the press conference said, "I expect him to play." We've been planning all week for him playing anyway.
Yeah, well, Saints have not broken any rules. That's the rules in place. If the first appeal's not deemed as frivolous, which is taking the mickey, you're allowed to appeal the appeal. Saints have done that, and then they've got. I agree with Scully. One of them is certainly my favourite player, the best forward in Super League at the minute. Great for Saints, and Rowan just said we'll play against any team what they put against us. So they'll be playing against him.
Do you know what, Mark, as well? And I'm not saying that with the Saints hat on. I'm saying that as a rugby league fan, and I'm equally as pleased that Reece Martin's playing. That he's back, that he didn't miss out on this game, because he's probably been one of Leeds, if not Leeds' best player this year. If they've got a chance, it might come down to a kicking game.
Kicker.
He's the best kicker in the competition, and we want to see these players out there on the biggest stage.
Right, let's talk Christian Wolff. When he came in, Justin Holbrook was very, very popular, wasn't he, and done a good job. Did you know Christian Wolff is this born winner? I bet, I don't know, playing chess, he wants to beat you up, doesn't he?
Well, I've got to know Wolfie over the last few years as well, and you can see that in him. He wants to win. He's a competitor. He's aggressive. And we see what he did with the Tongan team as well over the previous years. It's hard to come into a club on the back of success. Justin Holbrook was a god at Saints because of what he'd done and led the team to a grand final win. It's difficult to come in, and Christian come in and probably upset a few. He's different philosophies. He's his own coach. Certainly led by his defence, and I think he's come in and he's turned the club around again. St Helens has always been a club that's lived off exciting, attacking, free-flowing football. We'll score more than you. Christian Wolff was completely the opposite, and I think that's been the biggest strength over the 3 years, the 2 years, and this end of this year as well. That he's led. I think he's had a real steely defence, and that's what we saw at Saints at the beginning of the year. I think it's tailed off at the back end, maybe through fatigue. I think we've seen it in the Salford game for the first 25, 30 minutes, and again tailed off a bit. And I think it's something that we're going to see on Saturday. And
you probably noticed I was trying to prod him, get him some emotion out of him, but he's just laser focused, isn't he, about this game on Saturday night?
He is, but he's really relaxed. He loves the club. I've had the pleasure of half an hour on the phone with him today, and he's enjoying it. He's enjoying every moment. You know what? He's dead relaxed. He's just said, "I've got confidence in the boys. I know what they can do. I know how the week's gone." He said the week's gone perfect. They're all excited. Grand final week, Moz, isn't it? It's a buzz. Everything the whole week, doing the presser, doing the suit fittings, everything is a buzz too, because you know what's coming on Saturday. You're walking out in front of 60, 70,000 people at one of the best stadiums in the world, in front of an atmosphere that's like nothing else.
So is he not as intense as that in real life, Scully? Because I love watching him interviews, but he gives nothing away. Very down, straight to the point. Is he a bit more laid back?
Yeah, he is. He's very, very relaxed.
He's very friendly.
He's very, very friendly bloke, great bloke, but very focused on winning and doing everything, leaving no stone unturned.
I think what's remarkable as well, he came in here 2020, wasn't here long, and obviously we all went into lockdown, and it must have been so tough for his family because Australia didn't open for ages as well. and he's cracked on. He's won 2 grand finals, 2 Challenge Cups.
He has, yeah, and and he speaks so highly of the UK and St Helens as well, how his family have fitted in. He's obviously had a great opportunity to go back to the NRL, a great opportunity from where he's from, and the family obviously is a big thing as well. But he's thoroughly bought into the 3 years at St Helens and thoroughly enjoyed it. He'll speak so highly of the club.
Obviously, the focus is on tomorrow night. Is the future bright though? I mean, what he's done, whoever takes over, I think we all know who's going to take over, but is the future bright? I mean, there's lots of youngsters coming through.
Well, this is, people look at the success of, 2 or 3 grand finals. Look at the Christian Wolf's success in some of the young players that he's brought through. Young John Bennison, other players like that. It's, Jake Wingfield. Players who are going to be the next champion Saints for the next 10 years. And, he's given them opportunities, sometimes forced his hand through injuries. But he's developed them players, and that's one of his biggest legacies, I think.
You played in a great Saints team. You played with some great Saints players as well. If they win 4 and a bounce, where's it put this Saints team?
Oh, it's got to put them right up there at up the top. I played in some great teams, 2001, 2006 stand out. But this team, you play what's in front of you, and you're judged on success. And 4 grand finals in a row is some achievement.
Yeah, well,
Come on, where do you rate Saints?
No, well, they are favourites for tomorrow, and that's quite right. But as a club to be making these major finals, and if he goes home with 3 grand finals in 3 years, a Challenge Cup, league leaders, he'll go down as arguably the greatest coach in Saints history, and they've got a really long and illustrious history. But just the squad they've got, if they do get the win tomorrow, they'll go down as the best squad of the Super League era, without a doubt. They'll eclipse Leeds' 3 in a row. We know that was a fantastic squad, but this team will be right up there, and quite rightly so.
Some great players in that Leeds team as well, though, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was, and Leeds at the minute it's 8 apiece. Is that right? For grand final. So this is the winner takes all tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, Leeds and Saints have had a dynasty on the grand final. They've been every year very, very competitive, very consistent, and I'm just getting excited just thinking about this clash tomorrow. So winner takes all. But if Leeds win, it'll be a great story for the Leeds club. But if Saints win, they'll go into, not immortality, but deemed as the greatest squad of the Super League era, definitely.
Well, no one's won 4 and a bounce, and I suppose when you think about those defeats against Leeds as well in 2007, 2008, 2009, 2011. It's quite an incentive, isn't it? Playing Leeds.
It is an incentive. They certainly own one, don't they? It was a tough period for Saints. Making so many finals and then come against Leeds. Coming unstuck against Leeds. It's difficult, isn't it, judging eras against eras? You can only play against what's in front of you, but you're judged on your success and how much silverware you pick up, both coaches and players.
I think Saints, they've got the beauty of they have been in the grand final the last 3 years, so the majority of them players will have grand final experience. I'm not too sure how many of the Leeds squad have played in grand finals.
Well, you've got a bit of experience. I mean, obviously you've got James Bentley who won it with Saints. You've got Zach Hardacre who's won it 3 times as well. I mean, you've got
Blake
Austin only 2 players left from that 2017 win.
Right.
Liam Sutcliffe and Tom Briscoe.
All right, okay. So yeah, so you'd say just on that, you probably edge Saints as favourites because of the experience. However, Leeds, we've talked about their fairy tale end. They're not going to go down without a fight. So it's a very compelling game. I think Leeds needs to start well. Everyone knows how well Saints finish a game. They start games very intense. They finish a game very intense as well. So I think for Leeds to have a chance, they need to get in at the start of the game and get in the front and just try and maintain that lead.
Well, we're going to hear from a few of the players, but we've just heard from Christian Wolf. So let's hear from in the opposite camp. He only took over in April. What a remarkable job he's done. Let's hear from Rowan Smith.
Rowan, I want to cast your mind back to the 23rd of April 2022. Ipswich Jets 32, North Devils 36. 24th of September, you're going to be leading Leeds Rhinos out in a Super League Grand Final. Has it quite struck you yet, that journey that you've been on?
Maybe, for moments it has. I loved every minute of what I was doing there at North, and that day was special. The way that we won that game was right on the bell, and the players were doing their best to sort of send me on my way with a win, which was nice. But it's been a great journey, to that match, and then the start of the next journey at North here at Leeds has been, phenomenal, really. Really enjoyable.
What have the kind of key cornerstones of this turnaround been in your run of form in the last few months?
I think playing together and really having a sense of calmness around what we're doing. We do try and move the ball and play a little bit at times, but regardless of the situation of the game, we've just a sense of unity and teamwork and just being calm with whatever the situation is amongst all the chaos. Just trying to stay focused on the play at hand, or the situation at hand has really been probably the biggest thing that we've improved and embraced.
You've been involved in, a few, but in the last 2 weeks, 2 dogfights, one in Catalan and then a really tough game against Wigan last weekend. Has that kind of hardened your armour a little bit coming into St Helens?
Yeah, well, the opposition have been playing, big games for years on hand, so they're obviously experienced at that aspect of it. We've been playing sudden death for weeks and months. We had some other tough games against Warrington and Huddersfield and Cass to get in. We were all but gone. So the resilience of the group has been shown through, the turbulence of the season, and perhaps that's helped galvanise and strengthen us ready for this biggest occasion.
But you've got a little bit of card shuffling to do in terms of the absences of Caesar and Newman and Gannon, but when you look at some players like Richie Myler, confident in a number of positions, the same as Zach Hardacre, is that versatility of your squad perhaps one of your biggest strengths?
Yeah, I believe so. And, doing my research before I came over here, I understood there was some versatility in the group. And then, Zach Hardacre has really added to that as well. He's done a fantastic job at centre, but, he's a great fullback by trade as well. So that's added another dimension to our versatility. With the number of, injuries and suspensions that the club's had, it's been imperative really to have that versatility, and it's helped keep us together really, that those guys, particularly Richie playing so well in the halves at times as well, has been great for us.
There we are, Ron Smith yesterday. Right then, Moz, you were part of the setup in 2017, the last time Leeds won it. You were part of a youth setup, weren't you?
That's right, yeah, I was the academy coach in 2017.
Been a while now, hasn't it?
It has been a while, and for such a big club like Leeds, they expect success there. And for them not to have been in the grand final since 2017, and I know they've got their hands on the Challenge Cup final, but it's eluded them, hasn't it, the grand final? So they're going to be there and very excited. But just on Ron Smith there, he's done a terrific job, as we know, just to get him to the grand final. But the scary thing about for the rest of the clubs in Super League, he's going to have a full pre-season now with the boys. He'll have a few new signings. Few boys coming back from injury, so next year, they could potentially be up there again. So he's done a great job, and I think Gad Etherington should be very proud. That he made the right decision in bringing him over.
Cruz Lehman touched on something that Scully said at the press conference. He said even when it was struggling the second bottom, they used to look around that dressing room and think, we've got a good squad here, just we need to get going. And obviously he's come in and seems to done something right.
Yeah.
What has he done right? Do we know?
Scully mentioned it before. For a club and a squad that talented to be 11th is just unthinkable, really. But they were in that position. They just needed someone to guide the ship, a captain, and he's a tried and tested coach. And probably didn't change a bit too much, but the talent's really shining through now, even though they are struggling with injuries. The form's great. They're excited, they're confident. And they're in the grand final tomorrow. Yeah,
if you want to send in some messages, Emma B has sent in, come on Rhinos. If you want to give us some abuse, get on YouTube or on Twitter and send in some questions. We do appreciate anything if you want to get involved. But certainly Ron Smith's done a brilliant job. Second bottom in April and now in the final.
I think you can see he's very laid back and he's very calm, and I think he's probably gone in and gone, listen, it's a fresh start. Forget about what's happened. Look around the dressing room and let's get some confidence. And the confidence has just built. As they've got wins, and 11 in the last 13, is it? And you know, they come into this game now. You know, it will be interesting to see how Leeds are. You know, probably 30 minutes into the game, whether them 2 games against Catalan and Wigan, you know, made them a bit leggy, because it will be a quick start.
Because they took a hell of a battering off Wigan in that first half, didn't they? But at half time, they're only 4-2 down.
Yeah, and they'll take a lot of positives out of that. Certainly, if they go behind, you know, against St Helens, that the game's not dead and buried. You know, they've obviously built up that resilience over the past few months, and that's something they can draw back on.
Selection's going to be interesting, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Obviously, no Aidan Caesar,
yeah.
Who's been doing a brilliant job. No Harry Newman either. I mean, he's brought Jarrod O'Connor in recently. He's been brilliant.
Oh, he's been fantastic. He got man of the match on Friday against Wigan. It was lovely actually watching my old mate Terry O'Connor interview him after the game.
And he was brilliant at Catalan as well.
Yeah, he was. He had a tear in his eye, Terry. But you know, it's great for Jarrod. You know, he probably got a chance through injury, and then he took his chance with both hands, and now he's the form player in the Leeds Rhino. So he needs to step up, and there's no better place to step up than Old Trafford tomorrow night. But Cruz Lehman's been fantastic. You know, he's really steadied the ship. He's been played a captain's knock all year, so it's important for them 2 boys are on the game for him to have a chance to knock off the Saints.
And I thought one of the Saints' old boys, James Bentley, was superb against Wigan.
He was. You know, he's had his knockers this year in terms of, you know, he has probably gone over the mark with his discipline, and, you know, been suspended a number of times, been sin-binned, and, you know, he's probably added to the losses. However, he had it right on Friday in terms of he had his discipline in check, and he was very aggressive. You know, don't get me wrong, we don't want to take that aggression out of his game, but he played the game right. He's a competitor and fought for everything, and I thought he was outstanding on Friday. I really did.
Rowan
mentioned Zach Hardacre. He's been playing really well recently.
Yeah, I mean, he's a Leeds boy, you know, he's a Yorkshire boy. He seems like he's really settled in up at Headingley, you know, back where he's from, and you know, we want to see that. You know, Zach's a great player. You know, he's had his disciplined moments, you know, throughout his career, but you know, he's a world-class player.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm really pleased with Zach. You know, I played
won
with
it
him
3 times before with Leeds, of course.
Yeah, he won it with Leeds, and I played with him for England many moons ago. He's a lovely guy, but you know, he has had his problems at Leeds and Castleford, discipline and one thing or another off the field. But now it looks like he's finding his feet again back at the Leeds Rhinos, and his form's great, and his talent was never in doubt, but it was his off-field stuff that was an issue. So it looks like he's got it right on the pitch, that's what we want to see, and you know, he'll be putting his hand up for England hopefully, and let's see him, you know, hopefully back on the international stage.
How big a battle is it going to be between the forwards early on, do you think?
This is where the game's won for me. Grand finals are very different games than normal Super League games. You know, they're very, very quick. As a player, they're over in a flash. It's about winning field position. It's about handling the pressure. It's about completing your sets and good kicking game. I think Caesar's a massive loss for Leeds in regard to his real technical kicking game. You know, he's one of the best kickers in Super League.
Beginning. We all got excited at the beginning of the season, didn't we? Him and Blair Costin, because they played together at Canberra. We're just beginning to see Blair Costin and Caesar beginning to play well.
Yeah, and like you said, there was a lot of talk about them too. Obviously, 2 massive signings for Leeds at the beginning of the year, but it took a while to settle in together. And at the back end of the year, they were starting to do that. I think Caesar takes on the responsibility of directing the team, you know, finishing the kicks. Blair Costin, just go and let him play. You know, his game is a running game. You know, but Blake is going to have to step up, and certainly on the kicking game, along with Richie Myler and Cam Smith, you know, to really put Saints under pressure with these kicks and stop the likes of Wellesby in broken play.
You've played with Richie Myler. He's playing really well at the moment, isn't he?
He is, and you know, very versatile, and when he's been asked to play a number of positions, and every position he's played, he's been outstanding. So I think he's playing the best rugby league of his career now. You mentioned the forwards before. I think there's a lot of pressure on Mikołaj Ledski. I think he's been Leeds' best forward all year.
He's the only Leeds player to play every game, all 29.
Oh, really? Right. Well, that goes to show what, you know, the team and the coach thinks of Big Mick. And when I was at Leeds, he was a junior, and you know, he's developed, and he's world class prop forward now. And you know,
thanks to your coaching.
Thanks to my coaching, obviously, I made him what he is. But no, he needs to stand up. You know, and he has been outstanding. He's got one more game left, and he needs to really do the business, which I'm sure he's excited, and I'm sure he will.
And you will have worked with him as well, won't you?
Yeah, Mick, he's an outstanding player. He's an outstanding person. You know, a real athlete. You know, for a big forward, he's real mobile, good leg speed. You know, very, very skillful, but just a top kid as well. And talk about the missing Caesar for Leeds. The missing Walmsley for St Helens is an equally big loss. And this is where, you know, the big challenge for Mick, and certainly, you know, he could be one of England's #1 starting props. There's a big challenge for him.
I think he probably
here.
does start at the moment, doesn't he, the way he's playing?
Well, this is up to him, and it's games like this. You know, grand finals are that step above a Super League game. Internationals are a step above again. And these are the kind of games where, you know, he's going to show him when I'm the #1.
Good stuff. Right, well, there's one player, been it, seen it, done it. He's going to go around again. It's James Roby, and he spoke to Lewis yesterday at Old Trafford.
Well, James, this is becoming a yearly habit, interviewing you a couple of days before a grand final. You're 4th in a row. What's the feeling like this week?
Yeah, very good, very excited. I think first and foremost, obviously looking forward to the challenge ahead, and you know, coming here today, things like this obviously makes it that little bit more real again, and obviously sinks in. But I suppose on the whole, like you said there, we've been here a few times recently, so we're just trying to keep as calm as we can, and you know, we've experienced it before, and hopefully we don't get too kind of distracted, because it is a big week, and you know, more stuff like this, more press, more build up, more attention from, you know, fans and things like that. But yeah, our whole kind of week, we're just trying to focus on ourselves and keep it as normal as we can, really.
Is there almost a sense of kind of muscle memory for you guys when you get to this time of year now?
Hopefully, yeah. I do think, you know, once you do get to that business end of the year, it definitely helps having a little bit of experience. And, you know, we have been in these big games before, like I've said, so it is almost, you know, subconsciously, it's more of an attitude thing as well. You know, mentally, you just have to switch on, narrow the focus, and hopefully, you know, get the results on the game day. And luckily for us, that's what we've done, and, you know, finished with one last game here on Saturday.
You've been here obviously plenty of times before. You've also played in a behind closed doors grand final. What role do fans have to play on Saturday night?
Oh, brilliant. The fans are outstanding. I think every time you play in a grand final is a fantastic privilege. But, you know, for me personally, I just remember there's nothing like the noise of a grand final, especially when you go out for a warm up. You know, and I'm looking behind me there where I know the Saints fans will be like they've been before, and you know, it does get the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, and that noise is amazing. And you know, they've got a huge part to play really in terms of, you know, adding to the atmosphere of the game, because, you know, we'll be doing our best on the field, and, you know, I'm sure both sets of fans, Leeds and St Helens, obviously, you know, a bit of rivalry there from our past history and stuff, but I'm sure they'll be going at each other in the stand as well.
James Roby there, right, won it on 5 occasions, obviously had the defeats as well. Now, Scully, Rob's played in those games against Leeds in 2007, 2008, 2009. You know, obviously, matches that Leeds and Saints fans still talk about now. I get the impression of all the players, he doesn't carry scars, does he? So I think he'll be all right. Yeah. I don't think he'll be thinking about 2007, 2008, 2009
I don't think so. With the success he's had since, I don't think he'll even remember them games. And, you know, he looks excited, doesn't he? he's just such a calming influence, isn't he, on the team? And I think that's his biggest trait now with his, you know, his captaincy and still going around again. It's not necessarily always about what he does now on the field. You know, he's probably not as athletic as we've always seen him, but it's just his influence on everybody else around him.
I was at the Toulouse game when they got the League Leaders Shield, and to be honest, we were quite ordinary against Toulouse early on, and then he came on and just changed the game. Yeah, well, I think people raised the game as well to play with James Roby, but he's still a world-class player. You know, his vision from dummy half, you know, his ability to support play. You know, we've seen some of the tries he's scored this year. He's still pushing, you know, on every play, and his defensive efforts. You know, I'd love to know how many tackles he misses in a year, if any. How good is he?
Oh, he's fantastic. He'll go down as one of them, if not the best hooker of the Super League era. I know there's a statue of Kieran Cunningham outside the stadium there, but you know, if they did a statue of James Roby, you wouldn't be surprised. He's absolutely incredible, and his longevity, you know, that's the most impressive part for me. You know, his performances haven't dipped, and I'm really pleased he's going round again. If he thinks he's got another year in him, you know, who are we to decide? But absolutely fantastic. Love watching him, and he's a massive cog in in the St Helens machine.
How big a boost is it that he's going around again?
Yeah, I think it's massive. I think
especially with a new coach coming in as well.
Yeah, definitely, because it's just that continuity of the success, and certainly if they win, this weekend, Rob's, and I wouldn't be surprised if he starts filtering into the coaching staff, and I think he does that anyway. You do that as a captain, and certainly somebody so experienced, he'll have a massive input along with the coaching staff of what the team do and how they play. But he is just such an influence, in that dressing room around the players. He's not one who always talks as well. He's not somebody who has to say something all the time.
Leading by example.
He leads with his performance. He leads the way that he trains. He'll still be winning the fitness drills in training, no doubts. He's super fit, but it's his competitive edge and his will to be on it all the time. And that's James Roby, and that's why he's done 20 years. He's not done 20 years as playing a half-back and not getting tackled. He's played in the mix, and majority of his career for 80 minutes, and top the tackle counts. He's a phenomenal player.
He won it in 2006, and then obviously had to wait to 2014 to win it again.
Yeah, it was a long time between drinks, wasn't it? And that 2014, what a special day that was as well, because Saints were well, not favourites against the strong Wigan side.
I remember touring with Robes 2006. I'll be honest, I was playing in the NRL. I'd never heard of James Roby, and he come out with the Great Britain side, and he come off the bench with me against the Aussies, and it was absolutely outstanding. And I knew straight away we've got a special talent in our hands, and that's when I come back to the Super League. But he's been outstanding from that day forward, and he's been a massive part of St Helens' success over the years. Great that he's a local lad playing his trade at his local club. So I mentioned before, he'll go down as the best hooker in Super League without a doubt.
Well, he's won the Man of the Match award, which is the Harry Sunderland Trophy. He's won it twice before, in 2014 and 2020. Johnny Lomax is the favourite to win the Harry Sunderland Trophy at 9-2. Then you got James Roby, we've mentioned, at 5-1. No player's won this 3 times before, but Roby's won it twice in 2014 and 2020. Jack Welsby at 6-1, Blake Austin at 7s, Richie Myler at 9s. And we're coming up to nearly 40 minutes. I would not mention Johnny Lomax until at that point, which is quite incredible because he was brilliant against Salford. He's brilliant consistently as well as Johnny Lomax. I mean, for me, he must be a Man of Steel contender every year as well.
Yeah, he must be. And he's had an outstanding year this year. He's been a massive part of the St Helens, this team's success over the last 3 years. And I think that's true that Johnny Lomax has to be favourite for the Man of the Match award, because if Saints are to win, Johnny will play well, because he's in charge. With Jack Welsby now stepping up to the half-backs, obviously with Lewis Dodd missing, Jack Welsby, you want him very much like Blake Austin. You want him to just play in front of him, run the ball, not overthink of making plays and what other players around him are doing. Let Jack Welsby go and do what he does best. Let Johnny Lomax take control of that. And as I say, in grand finals, you need that good kicking game. You need field position, and that'll be all down to Johnny. But also his attacking threat as well. Both with the pass and with the little. How many kicks have we seen off? How many tries off Johnny Lomax kicks in the last few weeks?
We'll talk about the Leeds players in detail as well. But Johnny Lomax, how good is he?
I don't think I've ever seen him have a bad game. Even when he was a youngster, so consistent. Constantly making the right decisions. With the passing, with the running, with the kicking, he does everything right. And again, he's a perfect example of a general for the Saints, and he's been in great form. And I agree with you too. Quite right that he's favourite for the Man of the Match.
And what about, in your opinion, Jack Welsby?
Fantastic again. Very rarely has a bad game, and so consistent. And he was up for the Man of Steel. He did get the Young Player of the Year award, and quite rightly so. He's a fantastic talent. The beauty of it is he's young, he's English, and he's got a long career ahead of him. So hopefully he'll be part of the England setup for a long time. But just a competitor, never gives up on anything, challenges everything, and again, fantastic to watch. He was great at the weekend against Salford as well.
And obviously won one of the greatest ever finals in 2020 behind closed doors.
Yeah, it was unreal, and I had the pleasure to be at that game, you know, presenting the Harry Sunderland Award, and you know, there was an atmosphere without anybody being there. It was unreal, but to see that finish, I was sat next to the Wolfie and Wello as well, and I mean, Jack, just that is his competitive edge, you know, just to chase that kick right to the last, you know, millimetre of the pitch, and you know, and it paid off, and you know, he made his name from that moment on.
Go down in folklore, that try, won't it? So,
well, look, it was one of the greatest ever finals. He was involved in what a great final as well. What's his best position?
For me, he's a fullback. I think his best position is fullback. As I said, you know, give him that broken field play just to and really have no set position on the park. You know, get where the ball is, make yourself a threat. You see fullbacks chime in on the edges now and pick that pass. That's why he can play halves, and he's grown up as a halfback as well. That he can pick that pass to the wingers and centres. But he's just an outstanding talent. You know, he's a competitor, and he's a great kid as well.
If you're going to select one for the Harry Sunderland, obviously you're going to select a Saints player, aren't you? Who's it going to be?
Oh, well, I think if Saints win and they play well, I think Johnny's will have had a good game.
Yeah, it's hard to look beyond Johnny Lomax, but you know, Robes, there's life in the old dog if he just says, right, I'm going to
won it twice before.
Give it me all, yeah. So it would be a lovely story that if, you know, the first man to win the Harry Sunderland Trophy 3 times. So I'll go with if Saints win, I'll go with Robes.
Let's look at the odds for the first try scorer betting with double delight as well. So if you score first and then score again, you get double odds. And no surprise here, Tommy Makinson is the 6-1 favourite, and Mark Percival at 15-2. How good is Tommy Makinson, and how important is he to the Saints then, Scully?
He's massive. I think Tommy coming back, not just with his try scoring. We know what a prolific try scorer he is. For me, his biggest influence on the team is his backfield play. Is them early carries that get Saints on the front foot. Again, it competes for everything. You'll see him on the kick chase. He's the first downfield, you know, putting the fullbacks and wingers under pressure. Again, just an ultra fit lad, and an ultimate competitor, you know, and he's trying scoring on the edges, you know, he knows how to do it, doesn't he?
Yeah, great engine, and great that he's back in the mix. Great for Saints, but also great for the national side, and you know, again, World Cup round the corner, he'll be wanting to represent England. But I agree with you, Scully. Try scoring is great and all that, but it's when you get back and help your forwards out, and he loves the hard work and he loves getting involved. So you know, he's one of the wingers I do love to watch. And
there's so many subplots ahead of this grand final, St Helens versus Leeds, 6 o'clock at Old Trafford. We've not mentioned Conrad Hull either, former Leeds player. And he seems to be, you know, loving it in a Saints shirt.
Yeah, he is loving it. You see him around the club with a smile on his face, isn't he? He's a real character, and he's clearly loving his time at Saints. And I'm sure he'll want to get one over on his old club mates. I was at the game over in Headingley earlier on in the year, and you know, he scored a good try from the scrum, and he'll be looking to do that again, I'm sure.
Because he was well liked at Leeds as well, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. You know, terrific player, and it just didn't quite work out for him. And you know, I think we're seeing the better version. You know, now he's teamed back up with Wolfie at the Saints. But yeah, it's going to be. I'm looking forward to all these little subplots, as you say. But I think, you know, because it's a bit earlier, we probably won't have the rain tomorrow evening. I'm not sure about the weather forecast, but
normally rains on grand final night. I think it's going to stage your eye.
I've checked it purposely for this show and thinking about, you know, the kicking game, because it's usually wet, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's about that building pressure, and that it's going to be glorious sunshine. So hopefully we'll see plenty of skill on show.
Well, we're a bit earlier than normal for the World Cup. You see,
we are, and the rain that adds to the atmosphere, and you know, they tend to be low scoring affairs because of that. You know, the ball handling's not as good, but if it's a dry track tomorrow, we might see the ball being thrown around. But you know, it's going to be intense, but you know, it'll be great. It'd be great if we see a few length of the field tries and you know, a bit of sleight of hand tomorrow.
What I can tell you is that the surface just looks immaculate as well, because they've not played on it since I think the 8th of September was the last time they played against Real Sociedad. So Manchester have not played on it since then. It's always immaculate, but it looks amazing. It looks quite incredible, does the surface. Right, let's turn our attention back to Leeds now and talk about a few Leeds players. So we've spoken about no Aidan Caesar. Zach Hardwick has been playing very well. James Bentley, a former Saints player. The skipper, Cruz Lehman, sometimes doesn't start, but he'll definitely come on.
No, he'll definitely come. He's massive for Leeds. You know, whether starting or off the bench, he's such a positive influence. And again, a bit like James Roby in that he always seems to make the right decisions. And you know, he's been great for the revival there at Leeds. So again, he'll need a big game tomorrow. But as will all the team and all the squad tomorrow if they've got a chance of winning. But you know, I think he's the key man tomorrow for Leeds.
And Reece Martin back is, I mean, Scully mentioned it.
Oh, it's massive.
Fantastic kicker.
You know, not just,
Zach's been very good the last 2 games.
Yeah, not just his kicking, which, you know, his kicking, Scully said's the best in the league, and you know, that's certainly handy. But you know, I think his running game has been immense as well, and he was Leeds' best player before the ban. Hopefully, he'll bring that form back into the mix tomorrow. But I'm just pleased, and you know, you want to see the best players, as Scully said, and he's certainly one of them, if not Leeds' best player. So great that he's playing, and you know, let's hope he has a big game.
We've heard from James Roby, the skipper of St Helens. Let's now hear from the skipper of Leeds. And Lewis spoke to Cruz Lehman.
Cruz, just to settle a little bit since I spoke to you on Friday night. Has the kind of the sense of occasion and the enormity of what's coming on Saturday sunk in yet?
Yeah, I feel like, you know, the opportunity that it gives you, you know, being in a grand final as a group and as a player is huge, and I feel like that is starting to set in a little bit. We're trying to, you know, as a team, what Rowan's brought in is the calming influence of how he is as a person and his personality, and that's what we're trying to just take into the game, and nobody's getting too up about it yet and letting the emotions run away with them. I don't want to wish my time away either. I don't want to wish, like, you know, the game is now or the game's tomorrow. I want to, you know, experience it all and take it all in, like just being here at a stadium at Old Trafford and looking at the empty seats. That's something that, you know, people never get to do in their life. Every time they come to this stadium, it's packed, it's full, there's players on the pitch, and that's something that I'm looking at, and you know, it's an experience.
Obviously, we know what's happened in the last few months. Your run of form coming into this game, you'll take confidence from that. But these one-off games, is there a sense of excitement that it is a one-off game and anything can happen?
Yeah, I feel like there is no momentum going into games like this. Obviously, we're coming into this game with confidence, and confidence in sport is a massive factor of, you know, between a good team and a bad team. Like you've seen with us a couple of months ago, we had no confidence, and you know, with the same group of players, and how have we managed to change this round? Rowan's come in, albeit there are some system errors that we were making and little bits that he's come in, but he's basically just made us, you know, realise what we are as players and how good we could be, and give us that sense of confidence, and it's helped us roll into this game. But yeah, there is an excitement of, it's a one-off game. There is an excitement around it's a grand final. There's an excitement around these 60,000 people coming to watch you play, and that in itself is enough.
Cruz Lehman, I thought very good about the new coach, Ron Smith, saying he's got a calming influence. He just, look, I don't know what was going on, but you just get the impression something was going on behind the scenes, and obviously Ron Smith brought this calming influence.
Yeah, I mean, I've don't know him and I've not worked with him, but I've worked with his uncle Tony, and again,
not a bad coach.
No, he's not a bad coach
Tony
at all. You know, he's come from great pedigree, but Tony was the same. You know, didn't raise his voice, you know, unnecessarily, and very much a calm and influence. So if he coaches anything like that, Tony, I can understand how and why he's got the team in the position they have, and you know, obviously the players are playing for him. They enjoy playing for him, and looks like a happy camp at the moment. And I mentioned before, they're only going to improve regardless of the outcome tomorrow. So Leeds are in a very good place. Yeah,
look, I saw them at Old Trafford early on. They're clearly a happy group. They look very relaxed, just having a look round. Aidan Caesar was part of them. You know, they're all together. He's brought the whole squad. Injured players are with him as well. He's, you know, Ron Smith's keeping the team together.
Well, that's great. You know, you don't want to isolate, you know, players who aren't playing through injury or suspension or anything like that. So or head knocks. and great that he's kept the squad together, and that just breeds unity and team spirit and that kind of thing. So very very smart coach, and a lot of the coaching nowadays is technical, but a lot of it's about the psychology, and I think that's a really smart move by Ronan to keep everyone together, not just for tomorrow but going forward as a club. They are the Team Rhino.
We've had a few comments. Emma B said she's had a punt on Rhys Martin for the Harry Sunderland Trophy, which is a man of the match. And Moz, I think Zoe's been drinking because she's saying, put your Leeds shirt on and get on the bench.
No,
it's Friday night.
It's Friday night, yeah. No, but I think that ship sailed now, but I will be...
Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer, no, but...
watching them All-Stars games, I'm sure.
No, yeah. But no, I like to see all my old teams do well, and tomorrow, unfortunately, Scully, I'll have my Leeds hat and cheering the Rhinos on.
Yeah, you're working for the Super League tomorrow. You'll hear from Adrian Morley as well on our social media channels in the build-up. We'll be pitchside tomorrow, bringing you all the latest. Lewis will be interviewing the coaches as well about 4:30, so you get the best build-up on this channel. Just very quickly, before we just turn our attention to the women's game as well, the point I do want to make about Leeds, obviously everyone's been saying second bottom, lucky to get in the playoffs, but they have just won in Catalan, they have just won in Wigan. That's not bad, is it, to get to a final?
No, as you say, 11th place at the beginning of the year, what everyone talks about, it wasn't Leeds. They never should have been there, and they fought their way back to where they belong. So all you can go off is recent performances, and they're a completely different club. They've earned the right to be here, and they'll have built up that confidence and that resilience certainly in these last 2 weeks. As I said, the big test is how much it's taken out of them.
Well, it could be a brilliant few weeks for Leeds, because obviously the men's team are in the grand final tomorrow night. Next weekend we've got the wheelchair grand final, and last weekend the Betfred Women's Super League was won by Leeds as well. So congratulations to Leeds. It was live on Sky as well. They beat York in the final. You can see them celebrating there. It was a decent final as well. Well done to Leeds. Obviously, it's brilliant to see the women's game get this exposure. And with the wheelchair being in a grand final, the women's team have won, and the men's team are in the final tomorrow. They've done a brilliant job at Henley off the pitch, haven't they? I mean, it's fantastic.
Yeah,
it's superb. Leeds are going in the right direction again.
They are, and in my opinion, they're the biggest and best run club in Super League. And for them to have had quite a barren few years, it's unheard of. It's very un-Leeds-like, but they have got it back on track. Even though it was a shaky start this year, you've just mentioned, the women's and the wheelchair, and certainly the men's. So if the men can pull off victory tomorrow, they are underdogs, but if they can pull off a victory, Leeds Rhinos, they've got to say, that we're back, we're still the biggest club in the land. So it's been a great finish. It's been a great finish regardless of the result tomorrow. But yeah, they've put themselves in a great position, and it's looking rosy there at Leeds.
Come on then.
He's got his blue and white vest underneath, hasn't he?
Blue and amber.
Yeah. Blue,
yeah. Come on then. Biggest club in the land.
They're a massive club, aren't they? Leeds, what they do, take away what they do on the field.
I thought you were just going to have a pop.
No. I agree that they're an enormous. I said it at the beginning of the programme. Two giants of rugby league. Both
won the grand final 8 times.
Yeah. They're a club that, and that's been one of the hardest things I think for Leeds and Leeds fans, is they're a club that demand success, that have always had success, and to see their team where they were. But it doesn't matter, does it, in April where you are? It matters when you're in end of September, October, at the grand final. But Leeds as a club, you only have to go to Headingley. We were there the other night, weren't we, for Man of Steel, and what a great venue. Yeah,
well, you mentioned a Man of Steel. It was on Tuesday night. You can put your Salford shirt on now because it went to Brodie Croft. Let's hear from him.
Brodie Croft, 2022, Steve Prescott, Man of Steel winner. How does that sound?
Yeah, I don't think it's sunk in yet. Wow. with the two other contenders with Field there and Wellesby, they've had some unbelievable seasons themselves, in some higher teams themselves as well. So I don't know. And also coming into tonight, I was pretty low on the leaderboard, so I didn't really have the highest expectations. But yeah, I'm just hugely honoured and humbled to receive this. And yeah, as I said in my speech, I think it's a real reflection of the people I've been surrounded with this year. So I've been very blessed and fortunate to be in a special place this year.
I'm not sure if you've had a chance to look at the list, but I'm sure when you do that the list of players that have previously held that trophy, it is an incredibly prestigious thing, isn't it?
Oh, hugely. Yeah, some of the names of that list, I went through it a little bit the other day, I think, just briefly, and yeah, to know that my name's going to be amongst those guys now, well, as I said, I don't think it's sunk in, but yeah, I'm just blessed to be a part of this season at Salford, and it's unfortunate we're not there in the big dance this week because that would have really topped it off, but yeah, it certainly is really special to be named amongst those other guys on the list.
Yeah, so congratulations to Jack Wellesby, Young Player of the Year. Congratulations to Matt Peat, who won Coach of the Year. Of course, finished second and won the Challenge Cup Wigan this year. And congratulations to Brodie Croft. Very unlucky against St Helens. Right then, in many ways, he's similar to Jackson Hastings. He won it in 2019. Both players came here, probably both had fallen out of love of the game as well, hadn't they?
Yeah.
So, fair play to Team Bleeds for picking these two players up.
Exactly, and there was no doubt in the talent of the lads, and fell out of love, or for one reason or another they wanted to ply the trade over here. But both them signings have been absolutely outstanding for the Salford club. When Jackson was here, they made the grand final. With Brodie here, there was just one game shy, and you could argue if Brodie was playing, it could have been a different story. It could have been Leeds, Salford playing tomorrow, but we'll never know. But just the fact that two players from Salford have won the Man of Steel, absolutely incredible for the Salford club, and Ian Blease should be very proud of the signings made. Let's hope Brodie Croft's here for the long run. He's there next year, and if he can get the boys playing again, I think Salford could be up there again next year. And
fair play to Super League, making sure that Steve Prescott's family were there on Tuesday night. It's a lovely touch.
Yeah, it was fantastic, isn't it? Always at the the Steve Prescott Man of Steel awards, and yeah, it's always great to to hear Steve's mentioned on the highest accolade, I think, within the game, certainly personally, and he'll never ever be forgotten, will he? And I think I said it on the night, didn't I? Yeah. I think if there's one name that epitomises Steve Prescott, it is Man of Steel.
Right then, boys, I've enjoyed the last hour. Who wins it? Score?
Close one. Leeds 12-10.
I'm gonna go Saints 24-16.
I think it's going to be a very, very good grand final. Both are on 8 wins, and St Helens are going for 4 on the bounce, which has never been done before. Gents, thanks for joining us. Thanks for your help this season. We'll still be doing loads ahead of the World Cup as well. But right now, we are building up to Rugby League showpiece. Tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, it's the Betfred Grand Final.
Moments. They can pass you by in a second. If you can grasp hold of one, it can last forever. But greatness doesn't just arrive in a moment. Inch by inch, game by game. It takes a special kind of will to seek out greatness, and an even rarer skill to seize that moment. This city knows all about greatness. This theatre has seen it all. It's where the world comes to watch. Poetry. Brutality. Beauty. Humility.
Thank you for everything you've done in the game. We really appreciate you, mate.
Heroes walk in, legends walk out. A quarter of a century of unforgettable moments.
Robinson! What a try!
Names etched in history.
Venison came hurtling in.
History doesn't write itself. 4 years of unfaltering effort gives the Saints this opportunity. One last trophy before the wolf leaves the pack. One more for a club that can set itself apart. 4 in a row. Unprecedented. Greatness doesn't walk a defined path. The Rhinos have taken their own road this year. Rowan's revolution has left Leeds in a familiar position. Winning it from 5th. They said it before, it couldn't be done. Go get it, boys. The Betfred Super League Grand Final. Bring it on.